City Newsfeed. Hey guys, today on the Unbranded podcast, we're discussing why it's important to build your business in a community. It's good stuff. Wonder who did that. Hey guys, again, welcome to a special Wednesday edition of the Unbranded podcast. As always, sitting across from me, the co-founder and creative director of Unknown.Studio, Tanner Tate.
If April showers bring Mayflowers, what do Mayflowers bring? Pilgrims.
There you go. It's raining outside.
Yeah.
So, dad joke of the day. Mm-hmm. All right, yeah. So today we are discussing why it's important to build your business in a community. So really, how I want to start this off, Tanner, if you could oblige me and the audience, how would you define a community? First, let's get into what a community is. So,
yeah. So I think most people think of a community as like a physical area, with boundaries from here to here. I think of it more as like a collective of people than a geography, than a geographical area. So it's a collection of people who, have some sort of commonality. They share the same goals and objectives and beliefs. So yeah, it's more of a group of like-minded people than a physical area.
Yeah.
You dig?
Yeah, I get that. Okay, so now that we know what a community is,
well,
right?
What do you think about a community? Do you think that's kind of?
Well, I mean, I think that there's different definitions to what a community is, and different people are going to say different things, but it's more about like how do we view a community, right? Mm-hmm. And a community for me isn't like I don't go out trying to get something out of the community other than community, right? So we're not looking for community, and we see dollar signs hanging over people's heads, right?
Right.
So I feel like for me that's really kind of the simple explanation for it. That it's more about just kind of these people, like-minded or not, kind of embracing each other and learning from each other and not necessarily what can I get out of this relationship.
Yeah.
It's not a selfish or superficial relationship. Yeah. So. Matthew Moore says it's so cold.
Stone cold.
Man. Yeah. Big time. Okay.
Like the weather or that dad joke to open?
All right.
What's he talking about?
Tanner's got jokes today, man. He's on fire. Okay, so now we know how we view a community, right? Mm-hmm. So what is the benefit in finding a community? And really, again, when we say how we see a community, so the benefit in how we see a community, what's the benefit in finding one?
Yeah, it gives you, I think, a something to belong to, right? So as opposed to just talking about from a business or professional standpoint. So as opposed to just putting your head down and working and doing the whole 9 to 5 thing or whatever it is. It gives you something to belong to that's outside of your business. It also allows you or gives you a group of people that can kind of support you in what you're doing.
Now, when you say support, we're talking more of like, hey, good job there. Like more of a friendly support, not necessarily like business venture support, right?
Right.
They're just like, hey, we're in this journey together, right? We're all in this community together. We all want to see each other succeed, right?
Yeah.
Right. And so in turn, like we are looking for a community that really provides that to us, but we can't not also provide that to people in our community. So whenever we want people to be cheerleaders for us in our community, we also want to be cheerleaders for those in our community as well.
So whenever you belong to something, it's a mutual, relationship. It's not just a one-way street. So yeah, it gives you something to belong to. It gives you support, and that could be support like motivation, which that's one of the benefits of it. But it's support like, hey, I need somebody to connect me to this so that I can accomplish this. Not necessarily for a personal gain standpoint, but like not to make money necessarily. But like I need help with I need a printer, not a physical printer. I need a print vendor. So who can does anybody have anybody that they would refer to? So support like that.
Right.
But motivation also. So whenever you're around a group of people that kind of share some sort of similarity with you, whether that's belief or profession or whatever it is, they understand where you are at any given point in time, right? So they can say, yeah, this is you're going through the tough times. You're going through this is one of the peaks or the valleys, and stick with it. You're cool. You've got it. And that's reciprocal also. So you can provide that motivation for other people. You can help other people. So you just don't receive the benefit from the community. You put back into it.
Yeah, and I would also extend that to say that to not expect that a community is going to offer that up to you if you do not offer it up to them. So and maybe they will, right? But there's almost like if you want to be a part of a community, you also want to build that community. So maybe that's something
Sure.
that hasn't necessarily happened in the past, but something that everybody would benefit if it did happen. So then you can kind of take it on as your responsibility to drive it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
That was good.
Yeah, cool. So sometimes you need advice. Sometimes you're the expert. It's a cool thing about being in a community.
Yeah.
Yeah, being involved in it.
Right. And so when you say expert, when you say sometimes you're the expert, are you meaning in like we'll say there's a candy shop down the store. They're experts in candy, or maybe they're experts in running a small business.
Right.
So it's not necessarily tied to just specifically what you offer up as a business, but maybe there's a time that they've gone through a certain experience that you are kind of wading through the waters in your journey of a small business, and they've been through that, right? Mm-hmm. And shout out, what's it, Rocket Fizz down there? Right, shout out to Rocket Fizz. So Downtown Edmond. So yes. So again, it's not necessarily expert advice on like, we're not going to say, yeah, well, you need to do this because we know advertising or we know web or branding or whatever. But it's like, no, we experienced exactly what you're going through, even though our businesses are not in the same industry. And this is how we dealt with that. Yeah. And you can see a lot of parallels with that kind of stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool. Okay, moving on then. So that was good. That was the benefits of finding a community. And let's move on to do you feel like a community is a priority these days?
Kind of.
Yeah.
I think that, it definitely has benefits. It should be a priority. I think that people want it to, want to say that it's a priority. But I think maybe it's gravitating back towards the community, professional community, individual, social, personal community. We're kind of starting to see the importance of that again. And like younger people, ourselves, I would consider us younger still. But
I don't know, man.
Yeah, at some point in time in the near future, we won't be the younger people anymore. But yeah, they realize, how important a community is, and they want that.
Well, yeah, I mean, you see that a lot with kind of these pockets in Oklahoma City and in the Tulsa area even is like, it's like everybody's like, you can, people go to Midtown or people go to I mean, I don't know, do people go to Bricktown?
Yeah.
People go to Bricktown.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like locals is what I'm saying. I feel like that there are kind of these pockets of communities. And now we can't really speak to those as far as what the business community is in those areas, but I'm sure that it definitely exists.
Yeah, it definitely does. You have, scenes or communities or whatever you want to call them, kind of, little areas that pop up and stuff that, you have Plaza, you have Uptown, you have Midtown, Film Row, all that stuff. So, yeah, I mean.
And they're all cool, right? And what's great about them is they're all so unique.
Yeah, they're individual.
Yeah.
And they really resonate with the people that are in, in that area. Which, I mean, that is the definition of a community. And they're great. So, yeah, communities, I think the concept of community is really relevant. Is it a priority, though? I mean, I think it's kind of coming back around to that. Case in point, co-working spaces, where we office out of. But and I think we'll probably get to that here in a little bit. But so much of professional, your professional life, your job, from 8 to 5, 9 to 5, 9 to 6, whatever it is that you work, you have this. Well, recently, anyways, in the past, you had this cubicle culture, right? You work, you go home, you work, you go home, you work, you go home. And you're kind of, boxed into this, to your cubicle and you do your job and you don't really, communicate or interact with other people and stuff. So
I would even extend that beyond just kind of so you would kind of say like that's maybe where like communities have the potential for growth if people didn't have that cubicle culture, right? Is like where it's like, hey, I'm going to make an effort to actually be a part of a community. So I'm even going to extend this beyond office, right? Because there is even like your neighborhood.
Yeah,
if you want to be a part of your
absolutely.
neighborhood community, a lot of people, and even I'm maybe even a little bit guilty of this too. Is like you get home, you open your garage door, you drive into your garage, and you shut your garage, and you don't talk to anybody.
Yeah, you don't open your
Right.
front door, like just your screen door.
Right, right. And so, and all it really takes is like maybe I'm going to sit outside, and maybe my couple neighbors are sitting out there chatting, and their kids are playing outside, and you just want to inject yourself into that conversation.
So here's the thing, though: what gives you the desire to be involved in your neighborhood community? What attracts you to that?
Well, so definitely because you want to feel safe.
Okay.
You want to know the people that
Yeah.
that you're living around,
Yeah.
and I would also say that the more that you know your neighbors, the more you kind of look out for each other. It's like, man, I do not know that person that's walking up to their house right now. That's, I don't know, maybe a little creepy, like looking through the window and spying on your neighbor. But no, it's I feel like that's definitely a big part of it is looking out for each other, and really again extends into the community of where you want to work, right?
Yeah. So
Maybe.
No, for sure. But I think the what attracts you to or makes you feel comfortable in the community of like your neighborhood, right? Is your neighbors, next door, they have kids. They have something that is that's similar to your own life and lifestyle, right? That kind of brings you out and says, okay, we have some sort of similarity here, then we can connect. So that's like.
And neighborhoods are interesting too, because you really, it's almost like every neighborhood that I've lived in, 2 neighborhoods, but then growing up and stuff, right? So it's like you're almost like around people that are in the same part of their life as you almost, or like maybe you all similar make similar take homes, or like maybe you all have young children, or and so it's like that's kind of a thing that you look for too whenever you're looking to buy a house. And man, we're getting way too personal with this stuff.
No, not really.
No,
I mean,
okay.
it's all about.
We're good.
So, I mean, yeah, I think that a lot of, neighborhoods and stuff these days are built with that in mind,
Yeah.
I mean, whether it's just a price point of the neighborhood or actually the layout, of the neighborhood itself, that makes it attractive to families, with kids and stuff.
So here's kind of the thing, even more on that too, is like whenever you're going to go buy a new house, right? Mm-hmm. You don't only look at your house. You look at, you drive through the neighborhood. Mm-hmm. Is there a park? Do they have a pool, a community pool? Is there a splash pad? Are there people outside? Do people park in the grass? Mm-hmm. You really research the area, what's nearby. Yeah. And so you really educate yourself on really kind of the type of people that you want to, you're inserting yourself into this community, right? Mm-hmm. And so what type of people live there? Do they keep up with their grass? Is there food nearby? Yeah. All this kind of stuff that can really also be applied to, hey, where do we want to open up shop? Mm-hmm. Right? There's a lot of similarities there, I feel like.
Well, so let's take the opposite side of that, though, also. Uh-huh. What keeps people from injecting themselves into the community or adopting the community, whether it's their neighborhood or professional community. So I think, one, it is out of fear. I mean, really, that's what it comes down to. It's fear, and how that fear manifests itself is in different ways, whether it's in your neighborhood or your professional community. So like you said, you drive home, you pull into the garage and you put the garage door down and you go inside and you stay inside. Why are you not opened up to the neighborhood, right? Why is your front door not open, where people can see in through your screen door or storm door or whatever? It's because you're afraid, right? I mean, not you personally necessarily, but I'm just saying in general. It's because you're afraid that, that there's somebody...
Danger, Will Robinson?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, so
Stranger Danger.
Okay,
all
listen,
over the place.
I watched that on Netflix, watched.
Lost in Space?
Lost in Space, the reboot. Mm-hmm. Dude, it's good. It's good. And the thing that kind of sucks about binge watching on Netflix is it's like over. It's like over in a weekend. And it's like, man, where is season 2? And you got to wait so long, so dang long. Anyway. Danger, Will Robinson.
Stranger Danger. So that's why people shut themselves inside their house, right?
Right.
Because the world is crazy and weird and dangerous, and because of social media on our phones and on our devices, that's where a lot of people have their social interaction, not interpersonal interaction, but through a device. So that really satisfies the sense of community that people don't actually get with human interaction. So that also kind of constricts us to, living inside of our boxes, and our only outlet to get outside of that box that we kind of fall back on is, our devices, which is strange, right? So fear, okay? Because there's weirdos running around out there. Now, fear whenever it's a community, a professional community, right? I think a lot of people, especially in industries like maybe ours, where it's an industry of ideas and intellectual property and stuff, that we're going to share our ideas. People are going to steal our ideas and know how we do things. I'm afraid that by interacting with other people that are in a similar industry that I'm in, I'm going to give them some sort of insider information, and they're going to steal my creativity, right? Mm-hmm. So I think that's one of the reasons that the professional communities, or the people kind of, taking this cubicle culture and, they work and then they go home and they don't do anything within their industry. Is because
So how do you feel about that? About protecting your IP?
That's all. No, I think that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I think that you gain so much from being able to converse with people and tell people how you do things and let them kind of see insight into the way that you operate, and then vice versa.
Yeah, and I think, absolutely. Because if you're transparent and you educate even your competition, right? And we always say kind of community over competition.
Right.
You educate your competition, then maybe they'll do the same to you, and you'll learn something. And I think that it's also important to know, especially like in our business, there's like we have, you could say, competition, but there's not a lot of other business out there that do exactly what we do or exactly how we do it.
Right.
And as far as like even giving free information out to businesses on like, this is what you do, that doesn't necessarily mean that they can do it.
Yeah, exactly. People are just scared for, I don't know why. I think it comes from a lack of, confidence or something. If you're confident in yourself and what you do as a role or responsibility in your profession or what your business does, then you have no idea, you should have no problem sharing that information with the community and growing a community.
Right. Okay.
Build
so this was a good section to talk about. I liked
so
what you're talking about.
To wrap that back around too, is a community a priority these days? Yes and no. I think that it is getting back to that point. Hopefully it is. What do you think?
Well, I think a community is what you make it. So here's the thing, is I feel like that you can say, well, let's take us for example, right? Us, U.S, Unknown.Studio. We came to Downtown Edmond, and we'll get a little bit more into this later. We came to Downtown Edmond, but we could have very easily just like, we're going to office here. We're not going to walk the streets.
Right.
We're not going to meet new people. And so, but by us being active in the community, we're getting out of it what we put in. And so, so other people may come here, and whether they're just afraid to talk to people or they don't see the value in community or whatever, they can just come in, kind of shut the door, do your cubicle culture that you were talking about. And they would say, Downtown Edmond doesn't really have a great business community. Well, what are you doing to be active in that community?
Yeah.
Because the truth is it's actually a pretty active community.
Oh yeah, super. Super
I mean,
active.
we just went to when was that, last Monday? Friday? Okay, last Friday we went to a fashion show at the what building is that?
Edmond Fine Arts.
Edmond Fine Arts. And there was
Arts.
So there was an MC, there was a DJ, there was it was a literal fashion show, and there were 3 different businesses there.
Fine Arts Institute of Edmond.
Right. So there was
give them the proper.
There was
name.
Who were the businesses? Do you remember?
Maison Bleu, Pink
Petal,
Boutique, and what was the other one?
Man, what is it? Think.
Hello, Love.
Maybe so. Anyway, but we went to this fashion show, and it was really like just kind of these everyday women, right? And all types, and they're modeling for these businesses that are in downtown, these fashion businesses in downtown, and they looked amazing, and their clothes were freaking awesome, right? And then but the community showed up for that. Like there were maybe just a few chairs left to sit in, right? And it was a really cool, fun event. Everybody was happy, excited. We actually shot photography for it. So anyway, it's like, but if I'm just going to show up in downtown Edmond and drive up to my office and close the door and not be aware of like specifically that fashion show, and I'm not going to show up and I'm going to say, I like downtown Edmond, I can walk to Sprouts or whatever, but for lunch, but there's really not a community there. And the truth is that there absolutely is. You just have to go and be a part of it.
Mainstream Boutique.
Mainstream Boutique. There we go.
God.
Boom.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's good. So we talked a lot about downtown Edmond, but let's discuss the communities that we are a part of, because we're not just in the Downtown Edmond community. There's
Right.
a few in there. So go ahead.
So yeah, did you say what communities are we part of?
Yes.
Okay. Downtown Edmond, obviously, right? Our office is in Vault 405, which is a co-working space or co-working community.
And they have this awesome podcasting room, right?
In downtown Edmond.
Good.
It looks so like confusing from the live feed, all the different microphone
Yeah, there's a
arms and
lot of
stuff.
microphones in here.
It's crazy.
Look at
Anyways, so this is an awesome podcasting setup.
that. Yeah.
But Vault 405, and then there's some professional organizations that we're a part of. And, one of the reasons I think that people fall out of community involvement, though, is because it is you do have to devote time to it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you get busy with, work and having to do everything to sustain a business. So, you run out of time for other extracurricular activities a lot of time. So, we're actively involved in a couple and have been involved in more, but have kind of fallen out of being, active community members.
Yeah. And really kind of a goal whenever we started Unknown.Studio was let's meet as many people as possible. And we've talked about that before. And so we, again, injected ourselves in these communities that already existed and just let's meet people. Not necessarily like to get anything out of them, but just like, hey, we exist. Yeah. We're here. We're visible.
So let's name a couple of the professional organizations that we are active in or have been active in.
Yeah.
So Circle of Entrepreneurs.
It's a good one.
Design Dev.
Oh, it's another good one.
Yeah, and we just haven't been around those
so
guys
far.
in a long time,
I
unfortunately.
know. I'm sorry. We love you guys.
1 Million Cups was one that we frequented there for a while. What am I forgetting? Any others?
That was one of my favorites, man.
Yeah.
We need to make go make an appearance.
So and here's the thing. Also, I think that you should not be afraid or not worry about kind of evolving or outgrowing maybe a community, right? Because they serve a purpose for a certain amount of time. You serve a purpose to them for a certain amount of time, and then stuff changes.
Yeah.
Time changes, and you grow, or all kinds of things. So I think a lot of times people stay in a community that is not really serving them, or they're not serving. But they're staying with it longer than
and I think that like what is not necessarily, I wouldn't say serving, but what is the value that you are giving, and what is the value that you're getting?
Right. And if you
so that could be knowledge.
And if you can't provide much value anymore, then
right.
Then
and maybe you can. It's just that you maybe have these communities that are a priority. Or time is a priority. Like we even officed out of Star Space 46 for a couple months, and the problem with that was it was just too dang far. Yeah. And people make the drive, and it was an awesome place to work, and I mean they do a really good job with their community, and but the reality is that we both live in Edmond, and Vault 405 opened in Edmond, and so it's like. No brainer.
Yep. So I'm going to ask you a couple questions then.
Yeah.
So, all right, communities that we're part of, Downtown Edmond.
Yep.
So why did we choose Downtown Edmond to set up our business in? And, what about this area really kind of draws us into it?
I'm gonna take it old school here. Everybody's familiar with Cheers, right? I want to go where everybody knows my name. I want to be where anyway, you get it. You get the point. So there's something to be said about Edmond being kind of this compared to say downtown Oklahoma City.
Whoa. Right?
Where there's like it feels maybe a little bit more intimate. It's super walkable. Like when it's a nice day and I'm gonna go walk to Sprouts and get lunch, or walk to Java Dave's and get some coffee, or Ellis Island or whatever. Like there's a lot to walk to in any direction that you walk.
Yeah.
So so definitely that.
It's very connected.
Right. And then so because it's very intimate and stuff, that also, that going back to that Cheers reference, I want to go where everybody knows my name. There's opportunity to meet everybody. Mm-hmm. And we haven't met everybody, but we really want to.
Yeah.
And so we've built some really good relationships in downtown Edmond that are not professional relationships, right? Whenever we go and we walk into a building and we say, "Hey, what's up? Let's talk." We're not like, "Hey, we can build your website. We can redo your logo. Let's, do some advertising for you." We don't do that. Mm-hmm. We just have open conversation like, "Hey, we're located over here. What are you all about? This is what we're all about. This is, we just want to meet people," right? Yeah. And people in downtown Edmond are super open to that. And so it's like almost the local Instagram or Twitter or Facebook, right? But it's the old school way of doing it, where you actually meet face to face.
Yeah.
But also, there's benefit in doing that too. It's like you build your confidence whenever you talk to people and look at them in the eye, and that can only help you in your professional career. Mm-hmm. So, and I would also say that downtown Edmond seemed almost a little kind of like an untapped, like, stake your claim. You know what I mean? Like, so we talk about where can we go where we feel like our voice can be the loudest, mm-hmm. And we felt like really downtown Edmond was that place, but really
where your voice can be the loudest, and meaning
it could be influence. It could be like, oh yeah, hey, there's the Unknown.Studio guys walking the streets again. Let's go say hi. Like we almost daily go to Citizens Bank, and because they have free cookies and coffee. And so we go there and they're like, oh, there's those guys again. Yeah. Hey guys, what's up? And so just being present and being visible and being recognized, I think is a really cool thing about downtown Edmond.
So I'll tell you one of my first, I guess, realizations of, the community aspect of this, okay?
Yeah.
So I'm trying to figure out how far to step back here.
Do it.
Okay.
Not too far, because we need you need your audio from the mic, so don't step back too far. Come on, you get it.
Ridiculous. Okay, so whenever we first started Unknown.Studio, right, we were, both of us, we live in Edmond, so we were kind of officing out of our house, our houses. Mm-hmm. And, the walls just kind of close in on you and stuff whenever you're working out of your own house and everything.
A lot of people like it. The problem that I had with it was I felt like I never left.
Right.
And and there's a lot of you can easily get distracted.
Yeah.
Right. I watched The Flash, such a good show.
Yeah.
I'm a sucker for those CW shows, but that's always there, mm-hmm. and I'm going to watch it.
Yeah.
And so it's like, there's always some things that pull me away from my job. And it's like, it's been like 3 weeks, and it's like, have I even driven anywhere? Have I stepped outside?
So we were spending most of our time at your house, and we decided, we really need to stretch our legs. So we came to downtown Edmond, just because it's kind of the most kind of biggest collection of businesses, the densest business area that was close to us, right? So we came to downtown Edmond, and we kind of did the coffee shop thing, bounced around from, one shop to the other and stuff, trying to find a place that, we just really could, relax in and get to work. So we got tired of basically paying rent by buying coffee, and we wandered into Citizens Bank lobby, their community lobby. And kind of dug the atmosphere there and stuff. So we, we sat there, and they didn't really say too much to us when we, eat free cookies and drink free coffee and everything. But we really did become part of this little community there. We were kind of the weird guys that were just like squatting in their community, weird. In their lobby. And then I think they kind of.
But we also said, hey, your internet sucks. Can we get better internet? Right. Even though we don't pay for anything and you give us free coffee and cookies. And they did
listened.
it. And they did
listened.
it too.
Yeah. So anyways, they kind of adopted us, and brought us in and stuff. But after we were there for a little bit, we realized, okay, we love this area. We love downtown Edmond, and we hadn't really explored much of it. We hadn't really embedded ourselves in it. But we knew this is where we wanted to stay. And I'm getting to the point of my story here in just a second. So after we were there for a couple months and we really needed some elbow room to stretch out and, ride on stuff and just kind of make a mess, we officed out of this old historic building on the corner of Broadway and Hurd for a little bit. And they had an open...
They say it's haunted.
We had a down in the basement. But when we were like moving into that, right, it was right around Halloween. I think it was like the weekend of Halloween. We were moving in there, and I came out of the building, out of the office one evening, and there were some local businesses that were kind of congregating on that corner and stuff, had a table set up. They were getting ready to do ghost tours and stuff. And you look around and I don't know about your family, but my wife is a huge Gilmore Girls fan, right? So just by osmosis, I've absorbed some of this Gilmore Girls culture, right? Okay. So
I'm waiting to see where this is going.
I legitimately felt like I was in Stars Hollow, which is where the Gilmore Girls live. This little small, tight knit community, and that was my first realization of man, this is a quaint, quirky, strange, awesome, fun, small, but growing and evolving community that I'm in, Mm-hmm. So it was the weirdest thing. They were doing freaking ghost tours, and I think they were dressed up in some
old school gear.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, anyways, and then after we were in the basement of the haunted building for a couple months.
It's not haunted. Our music did change over a couple times.
Then we moved over to Vault 405.
Vault 405.
Yeah. So
that's where we are now.
Let's talk about that a little bit.
So
because this is a community.
Yeah. And it's a growing community. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of like maybe once or twice a week you kind of see a new face, mm-hmm. right? And I would say that we need to probably do a better job of introducing ourselves and
being in a community.
Right, exactly. So Vault 405 being a new community, what would you say really kind of drew us in to officing here?
I think the idea of being able to really grow a community, Mm-hmm. And I want to backtrack to Downtown Edmond real quick.
Do it.
Okay, so sorry. One of the things that I really like about Downtown Edmond, though, is it's got this mix of kind of your older, traditional, more established businesses and people that are involved in DEBA, the Downtown Edmond Business Association. But then there's this growing, evolving, newer, younger aspect of it that's kind of up and coming also. So you've got the new and the old, and how are they, coexisting?
They mix really well.
And mixing and I think that there's just so much potential for this little strip of land between Broadway and Danforth, or between
and so
2nd Street and Danforth on Broadway.
And Vault 405, where Unknown.Studio is, we are right off of Main and Broadway. Just to our north is Hurd and Broadway, and everybody is familiar with Hurd on Hurd that lives in Oklahoma City area and Edmond area. So we're like right in the thick of it, and so I would say that it's stuff like that even that really kind of drew us.
It's exciting. Yeah, it's exciting to to be able to have maybe some sort of impact in the growth of the downtown Edmond area, right? Mm-hmm. To be kind of on the cusp of what's going to happen here. Mm-hmm. So that's cool, and we want to bring as many people like us as we can into this.
Yeah. So, and I would say that we're not afraid if like another Unknown.Studio type moves into town. We think that would be incredible,
Yeah.
right? I mean, there's a lot of communities where it's a lot of like-minded people and people who do similar things. And I don't see that as I see that as an actual positive, right?
It's a
so
benefit,
it's like,
man.
hey, what do you need? This is the part of town that you need to go to get that done.
So don't be afraid of the suburbs. I mean, people are chasing, kind of going after, gravitating towards the scenes, the cool, revitalized areas, which that's awesome. I mean, if that's your thing and that's convenient to you in your life, then absolutely do that. But don't be afraid of the burbs.
Yeah. And I mean, I think that it's like, hey, where do you want to be? Where do you want to put yourself? In what community are you going to select? A lot of people would say, well, where's the most opportunity? And I would say, well, define that opportunity. Is it you just want to be a part of something that's really fun and cool? Or do you mean specifically, where can I go and drain people of their money? And so, and I feel like that it's more, you get more out of just being a human being when it's more about connecting with people.
A human being. Okay, so then that segues to Vault 405. Okay, so why is Vault 405 why are we attracted to this? Why did we decide to?
I think, it's shiny and new, number one. They do cool things like have a podcast studio that we can take advantage of. It's a growing community. There's a lot of potential. Most of the offices are already filled. I think they've only got 2 left. So jump on that, join us. I really feel like when this place really kicks up a notch and it's super active and full, and they do tons of events and stuff, talks. There's a podcast training later today. There's stuff like that you can really benefit from. So it's almost like what really I feel like it drew me in was it is pushing the community of Downtown Edmond forward. Right. And it's not like a gigantic leap or anything, but it's kind of this where does Downtown Edmond go next? And here's maybe a little taste of that.
Yeah. So, with Downtown Edmond, it's an established area, right? It's kind of got a pulse and a personality of its own that's progressing, okay? And we can be involved in that, and I think that's super cool that we can, kind of be part of that new wave of what Downtown Edmond is. Now, Vault 405, on the other hand, while that is a kind of a catalyst, or maybe potentially a catalyst in that evolution of Downtown Edmond, Vault 405 on its own is brand new, undefined. So what I like about it, what I like about being here, is we get to lay the groundwork, or help lay the groundwork for what Vault 405 is. Yeah. So we get to define and build and shape a community from zero. So that's what I like about Vault 405. And then also, as new upstart businesses move into it and stuff, freelancers, people that are, startups, entrepreneurs, whatever. I mean, it's just great to be able to communicate and interact with people like that have great ideas. But then also, to be able to help them out, give them advice, offer them some solutions and ideas and thoughts, and, just feed into their success.
So let's move on.
Yep.
So why do you feel like it's important to be a part of professional organizations? And what is it about those professional organizations that really draws you in?
I think that, there's a couple different answers to that. One is, whenever you're talking about a professional organization, you have people that understand what you do on a day-to-day basis, right? Yeah. All the complexities and the complications and the aggravations and the annoyances and the successes, the triumphs and the failures and all that stuff, right? So you have people that basically just immediately kind of empathize or sympathize with you, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you can gripe about stuff, you know. You can, hear from people that, you're not the only one that thinks, this way, that this sucks. Or,
yeah, and we talked about like with being part of a community in like downtown Edmond, that it's like we talked about like Rocket Fist. Maybe they were on a journey in their business and they've experienced something that we're kind of going through right now, and we can get advice from them. Or
but
whoever.
we're not in a professional organization with them,
right? Exactly. So, but I'm drawing some parallels here.
Gotcha.
So there's like that, right? But professional organization is like you're literally a part of it for that.
Yeah.
So it's maybe a little easier, a little bit more open to get advice like that. And what I really like about Council of Entrepreneurs is it's not a networking, dollar signs over everybody's head. How can we all make each other money? It's like we're here to help each other grow as business owners.
And yeah,
and we're not in the same group for
right.
Council of Entrepreneurs. And I think there's a lot of benefit in that too, because I talk a lot of crap about you. I'm just kidding, man. I like you.
But so yeah, Council of Entrepreneurs, for example, is a professional organization, right? But nobody in your group, right, is in the same industry that you're in. Mm-hmm. So you're from different industries. What the commonality between us all, is kind of an age range, but then we're all business owners, So that runs the gamut. But it's more about owning and running a business. So that's super super beneficial. Now, when it comes to like very specifically industry-related professional organizations, like design dev, for example, we jumped onto that from the very beginning and immediately saw like this is a place that this is an organization that we really, really, really.
Design dev is designers and developers.
Right.
Now Tanner
Tanner
is neither of those things. No. He really, really likes using my head sometimes as a mouse. So I guess he's kind of a designer in that sense. But still, he added a lot of value to that group and also got a lot of value out of it. So there was no reason for him not to show up.
Yeah.
But if you are in the design dev, whether you're freelancing, not freelancing, doesn't matter where you live, just show up, man. It's an awesome group.
Yeah. So design dev, that was created by Kara and Stephen Bell of Steed. That group was hugely instrumental in us taking the leap and doing what we're doing right here.
Not podcasting, but
no, running a business. Starting a business. So at that point in time in our trajectory, in our life, that we really needed design dev. Okay. And we can still benefit from them, but it's just...
We just got to show up, man.
Yeah, it's just kind of things have, progressed and changed and evolved, and we're just not as, I don't know, capable of getting around there.
I would say that it's more about time commitment.
Yeah.
And we both, I have 2 kids now, and you have a daughter, and it's like, I feel like that it's a lot of, it's difficult to commit to something like that, even though it's once a month,
But professional organizations are great because they give you an outlet to realize that other people are going through the same stuff professionally that you are. And then you can also, get advice from them. You can get motivation from, all the same stuff that, we talked about, the benefit of a community in the first place. But it's just very, very job, role, responsibility related.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, this is good stuff. Okay, so let's wrap this thing up. So we talked about all this stuff. How does somebody go about creating a community if there is not one? Or how do you become part of a community that already exists?
I think, you just define what you stand for, and kind of plant your flag, and then just welcome people in. I mean, if they have some sort of qualifications or, they have to meet some criteria to be involved, that's fine. But again, it's all about definition. You say this is what we stand for, this is who we're for, and this is what we want to accomplish, and then you just let people in.
And I would even give some advice on the type of community that you should go after, and not limit yourself to like Unknown.Studio. We don't limit ourselves to like people that are in our industry, right? Like design dev. We love design dev, even though we haven't been to it in a while. But we're not going to limit ourselves to like let's hang around like-minded people that do what we do. You can get a lot of value out of that, but also being a part of communities that like Council of Entrepreneurs really kind of challenges you. And for me specifically, just being around people is sometimes it's uncomfortable, and being vulnerable as a business owner, and expressing like the things that you need and or the things that you wish that you were better at, and really kind of be an open conversation. And so I would say that there's benefit in having a community that you're comfortable with, but also a community that you feel challenged in, that helps you, pushes you forward. And then a community that where it's just like, meet as many people as possible. Yeah. And don't expect or want anything out of these people. Just meet people and say hey, and say this is who I am. And I mean that could potentially turn into something down the road, like if you're in our type of business where we do work for other businesses. We're in the service industry, and but that's not really. You shouldn't roll in with that being your intention, because people can smell a salesman, and you just need to be real and true and say, hey man, this is who I am. I want to be here. What's up? Right?
Right.
Like say that exactly.
Say that again.
Hey man, I'm here. What's up? Is that what I said? I already forgot. Okay. This is good.
Yeah. Okay. One last thing about creating a community. I think that it's going to take the shape of, reflect the people that are a part of it. So you can't too strictly define what this community is and what it looks like, because it's just going to take on a life and a shape of its own, and it needs to do that. That's what's important about a community. Is it kind of changes to meet the needs of the times.
Mm-hmm. And let me add one more thing too.
Yep.
Is you don't have to be in a place like Oklahoma City to be a part of a really good community, right? If you live in West Texas, I'm sure there's a community for you. You don't feel like you have to. And
if there's not, start one, because there will be a community.
So an easy way to start one would be use the Meetup app. Mm-hmm. Start a meetup. Maybe it's a breakfast club or a book club or whatever. It's like it's meeting people and talking to them and being a part of community is, I feel like,
speaking of that,
what really makes us human.
Wasn't a WeWork that bought Meetup app and kind of changed? I don't know how that community, that Meetup app community, has evolved recently. But yeah, that's one of the ways that we kind of got our selves out there, was through the Meetup app, and just showed up at places. Try them out. Go,
do it.
Just show up and hang out, and if you like it, then
hey man,
come back. If
I'm
you
here.
Don't,
what's up?
Tell them to peace out.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, man. We're done.
Yeah.
This is way too long. If you like what we say, or if you hate what we say, doesn't matter. Thanks for listening. Check us out on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, at Unknown.Studio. We chose Unknown.Studio because Unknown.Studio was taken, and we chose Unknown.Studio for our website because it was available, and that's how we named our business. Shocker. Okay. A little inside information there. So check us out, and check us out on
there's more strategy behind it than
I don't know, man. I don't know. There was pretty awesome how it all came together.
And here before too long, these podcasts will be available on iTunes and all your other podcast distribution sites. So wherever you listen to podcasts, you can listen to the Unbranded Podcast by Unknown.Studio.
All right. Thanks for listening, guys. Peace. Boom.